The Eagles for the burger night.
Call to order the City Council meeting for City of East Grand Forks for Tuesday, February 2nd, 2021 is now 5 o'clock. Would City Clerk please call roll?
Mayor Steve Gander.
Here.
Council President Mark Olsted.
Here.
Council Vice President Tim Riopel.
Here.
Council Members Clarence Vetter.
Here.
Dale Helms.
Here.
Tim Johnson. Mark Demers.
Present.
Brian Larson.
Does term quorum. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Approval of minutes for the January 19th regular meeting and January 26th work session. Moved by Helms.
Second.
Second by Riopel. Any questions or discussion? See none, roll call, please.
Olsted.
Yes.
Demers.
Yes.
Vetter.
Yes.
Helms.
Yes.
Riopel.
Yes.
Motion is carried. Scheduled bid lettings, none. Scheduled public hearings, none. Consent agenda, items under the consent agenda will be adopted with one motion. However, council members may request individual items be pulled from the consent agenda for discussion and if they choose. Do any members like the consent agenda pulled, any 3 through 4? Not entertain a motion.
Motion 3 through 4. Approve.
Moved by Riopel, second by Helms. Any questions or discussion? See none, roll call, please.
Olsted.
Yes.
Demers.
Yes.
Vetter.
Yes.
Helms.
Yes.
Riopel.
Yes.
Motion is carried. Acknowledge receipt of reports of officers, boards, and commissions for regular meeting minutes of Water, Light, Power, and Building Commission for January 6, 2020. Regular meeting minutes of Parks and Recreation Commission, October 21st, 2020. Communication, there is none. Old business, there is none. Under new business, number 7, consider approving the joint powers agreement between the City of East Grand Forks and the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources for the operations of the Red River State Recreation Area from 21 to 23. Moved by Vetter.
Second.
Second by Helms. Any questions or discussion? I see none. Roll call, please.
Olsted.
Yes.
Demers.
Yes.
Vetter.
Yes.
Helms.
Yes.
Riopel.
Yes.
Motion is carried. Consider approving the request to start a new hiring register for the position of police officer. Moved by Riopel.
Second.
Second by Vetter. Any questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Olsted.
Yes.
Demers.
Yes.
Vetter.
Yes.
Helms.
Yes.
Riopel.
Yes.
Motion is carried. Number 9, claims. Consider authorizing the city administrator, clerk, treasurer to issue payment and recommend bills and payroll. Moved by Helms.
Second.
Second by Vetter. Any questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Olsted.
Yes.
Demers.
Yes.
Vetter.
Yes.
Helms.
Yes.
Riopel.
Yes.
Motion is carried. Mayor Gander.
Well, our community lost one of its pillars this week. Henry Tweeten died at the age of 97 years young. In the same way that a pillar in a building carries the load of the structure to a foundation built on solid ground, a community pillar lifts the community while anchoring it to a strong foundation. I am convinced that the work that Henry did in his life here on earth and all the good that he did will live on long after him. Much of it is of eternal significance. There's an old quote that says, "We stand on the shoulders of giants." I really believe this is true in the case of Henry Tweeten. Henry and others in his generation sacrificed greatly so we can all have things a bit easier and see a bit higher. Now we have the privilege of continuing their work, building on that same strong foundation. Henry and I went out to lunch every month or two. I always enjoyed hearing the stories of his military service. The most memorable was when his platoon got pinned down under heavy enemy fire in open country. That is when he got shot through the kneecap. He would show you if he asked. When Henry was able to get off the battlefield, he spent hours in the basement of a building that was also occupied by enemy soldiers. If they had located him, it wouldn't have been good. But over the next several months, he fought for his life in hospitals as infection ran through his body. Can you imagine how different this place would have been without Henry if he hadn't survived? Henry was a big proponent of education, literacy, and lifelong learning. Henry was one of the most optimistic people I know. He always had a plan to grow East Grand Forks and make it better. I really thought he'd reach that goal of living until we eclipsed 10,000 population. I guess that's left for us to do. On several occasions, while giving me lessons in life, Henry would pause and summarize by saying, "The key to the whole thing is love God and love people. I guess we can't do better than that. Henry fought some tough battles and accumulated enough wisdom that I would listen closely when he would share his ideas, and he was more than willing to share his ideas. I will miss him a great deal. The whole community will miss him. I hope we can all up our game just a bit to make up for the positive force we no longer have, this great man in our midst. A few years ago, Henry gave me a small devotional book, and he wrote on the inside cover of it, it tells also a lot about him. On this 21st day of September 2017, I have gifted this book to my good friend Dr. Steve Gander so that he will be inspired personally so as to inspire others in our community. Henry G. Tweeten. I don't think I've inspired anyone yet, but I'll keep trying. May God bless the memory of Henry Tweeten. Thanks.
Anything else, sir? Mr. Better.
I too would just like to extend my condolences to the Tweeten family. He will be missed in this community. Thank you.
Mr. Helms.
Also, give my sorrows out to the Tweeden family, and hopefully there'll be one or two or three more of those kind of people step up in the community and be an advocate like he was. He was great. And then also, I don't know how many people listen to the Denny show on KNOX in the morning, but Gary Shields was on there from the Eagles Club, and also the memorial, the Veterans Memorial he's been working on. But he put a good plug in for the EDA on there, on the job they've done and how they've handled things and everything, and had good things to say about them. So I don't know how many people heard that, but I just wanted to bring that up and let you know that he did that. So I thank him for that, and that's it.
Mr. Reeville.
I too would like to give my condolences to the Tweeten family. Henry, for the 2 years that I sat with him on this council, they were very interesting years. And Henry will be missed. Missed him at the hockey games. He loved going to the hockey games. Also, to piggyback on Mr. Helms, Gary Shields did call me this morning after he was on the radio, and he wanted to express not just the EDA, but the Grand Forks City Council for the work that the mayor has done, and especially Josh Grindy for all the information, because when he called Josh, Josh would get him the information right away. When we were over there the other night, we were able to talk to a few of the representatives of the Eagles, and they're very happy with what we've been doing and what's been going on. They understand now that the process doesn't work overnight, and it needs to get moved along as fast as we humanly can do, and they know that now. So that's it.
Mr. Demers.
Thank you, Mr. President. Again, like everybody else, thinking of Henry, many fond memories, a lot of stories. It's kind of interesting. I had a chance to take my bride on a little getaway leaving Sunday, and we were driving out east of town on Highway 2, still on the divided highway, the one, he always wants to make it divided all the way to Duluth was his goal. But we were driving through Erskine around 11 o'clock or 11:30 or something, and looked over, and Nescafe is there, and that's it was one of his stopping spots. He always, whenever you drove with him, he always wanted to stop and get pie. So I was looking over, I was like, well, maybe we should stop there. We ended up keeping on to Bemidji, and we were sitting in the bar in Bemidji, and there were some other East Grand Forks people over there, and someone said, hey, Mark, and notified me that Henry had passed away, and just an hour earlier. So I think about that, and it's kind of an ironic thing when you drive through and there's something that reminds you of someone, and it was probably kind of right when he passed, but it means that Henry's still out here and he'll always be a part of this city. So thank you for the great work you put in and the influence that he'll continue to have.
Yeah, I also like to give condolences to the Tweeten family. I had pleasure of working with Henry when we used to go down to St. Paul and meet the legislators, and he knew everybody down there, so he could talk his way into any office or any discussion or get in front of anybody down there, and always said he wanted to get in front of the governor all the time down there. He'd try and try and try. So it was, good learning experience, good stories, and yeah, he will be missed. So again, condolences to the family. Also, we talk about going down to St. Paul. We took part in the coalition of Greater Minnesota's Legislative Day this past week here, and kind of talked about what their priorities were, and we talked a little bit to what we need our priorities to be in East Grand Forks. Number one that we thought of that was on everybody's mind was their number one topic was LGA and how that's going to affect us. It has affected us in the past and how it's going to affect us going forward, and that we need to have ours looked at and rewritten so the formula does not continually bring our LGA downward. I think last year we lost about 89, 90,000. And it looks like going forward, hopefully this year it'll be frozen so we won't lose anything, but the years following that we're going to start to lose more and more money. So hopefully we can get that in front of them and get them to see the light that it needs to be redone and fairly and for everyone. So other things that we talked about and then that we shared and Mayor shared, continue to stress the importance of the COVID recovery for our local businesses and how that's going to affect them and how it's going to affect the cities. Work out funding for local street repair and replacements. Work to build momentum along with legislators and governor for improvements to our recreation facilities a year from now and forward. We also need to move past our governor's emergency powers to where the full legislator makes decisions on how it affects us as a city and all our residents. Also, we'll make sure that the state increases are not excessive as we work to repay our COVID deficits, so they're not passing on to us and our citizens and still doesn't cripple us for years and years to come. So also prepare to utilize future bonding money for any infrastructure needs and talk to them how we can utilize the bonding. So those are some of the things that we talked about and some of the things that came to mind with, some of the priorities that we need. Also, I know some would say, well, maybe they're not on there, keep pushing for the South End Bridge. So, Mr. Vetter says he's going to stay on until that gets done, so not retiring.
I'm with you, Mr. Vetter.
So, but other than that, I have nothing else. Mr. Murphy.
I just have two things. The first thing I would like to say is I will miss Henry greatly. He was, when I first got here, he came in and made his presence known and was very helpful for me in getting situated and becoming a part of the community. So I will appreciate him forever for that. And the second part with Henry, I just want to make an expansion on the mayor's comments there. He stated that Henry would be more than happy to share his military stories with you if he asked. I will say you didn't always have to ask either. I love his stories. I love his stories. I look forward to them. But yeah, you didn't always have to ask. He would follow you. But they were always very entertaining, very, very, very well. And the only other thing I want to say is I did send out. We do have the visioning session, so if you could, to the department heads and council members, if you could get that to me, hopefully by the end of the day tomorrow, I will have those ready. So that's all I have.
Mr. Gulstead.
Thank you. I can't be as articulate as the mayor regarding Henry. He says, however, he will be missed. Being an attorney and in the same brotherhood with Henry, he was a mentor. And we developed a very special relationship between us, and I will always appreciate that. So it's about all I have. Thank you.
Mr. Emery.
I'd like to too pass along my condolences to the Tweeten family. Henry was kind of a staple in our office too. Made his presence many days. One of the last things I remember about Henry is he'd stop in and always want to look at plans and stuff. And I mean, as you know, some of the writing and stuff on the plans gets pretty small at times. So I found it kind of funny that one of the last times he was in here, he came, he said, I bought you a gift, and he bought me a magnifying glass. And I always thought it was kind of interesting, a 95, 96-year-old guy, giving me a magnifying glass so I could see my own plans. So, again, yeah, I think everyone in our office here will miss Henry, and so that's all.
Anything else from the department heads? I see none, so I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move.
Moved by Riepel,
Second.
second by Vetter. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Meeting is adjourned.